in my hand.
Corks. Haven't seen you in a while. No.
No,
Oh,
good evening, everyone. I'd like to call this meeting to order. We do have a certification of a quorum. And at this time, if we could have a pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. To the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor to the Texas flag. Pledge allegiance to thee. One state. Councilman Wallace, would you lead us?
Yes, sir. You bow your heads. Dear Lord, thank you for this day and all the blessings you give us. I just ask that you watch over us tonight as we make decisions for the city of El Campo and be with us to ensure that you're working through us and we're doing your will each and every day. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you.
At this time, we're gonna move into item number 4, public comment. We will, start out with Shannon Crabtree.
Mayor, council, staff, thank you for taking the time to allow me to speak on this. What I'm here to do is just simply to make a recommendation. And that recommendation is that perhaps in a future council meeting, you take the time to issue a proclamation for your public works folks. They have been working a heck of a lot of overtime, especially those guys who are out there spraying for mosquitoes, because, oh my God, we've got them this year. And if it keeps raining, they're not going away. Yeah, they earn overtime. They don't have to do it. And that they're doing it anyway. And I think that's something that should be saluted. So I'd just like to make that recommendation. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Shannon. Ms. Petter, would you like to? You would state your name again and approach the podium and, yeah, no, and we're allowed 3 minutes. Yes, ma'am.
My name is Judy Petter, and I'm from El Campo, Texas. The last time that we met, there was some statements made, and I'd like to correct some of them. There was something made that was said, no evidence of baby boxes needed in El Campo. Y'all are going to be the judge and jury of this. You're all confident that you're willing to take this on and rule on that, and you did. How did you come to that conclusion? I don't know. I think our citizens here in El Campo deserve to know how you calculated that decision for them. 2 newborns have been dropped off in the bushes. At least we know about those. How about the ones that were not found? You are willing to accept that, knowing there is no cost to the city. We've said that a million times. The statement was made that there's a small number of babies saved compared to the number of baby boxes across the United States. Well, so far, 70 babies have been saved. 70 babies have been given a chance for a life. You all have chosen not to be part of rescuing innocent babies that cannot help themselves. How did you judge that and make a determination that it is just not needed in El Campo? The privacy issue, if you have read all the information that we've given to you, verbally and on paper, you know that issue has been covered. Medical history, the same thing. The governor of this great state of Texas supports baby boxes. The citizens of El Campo support baby boxes. I took the time to write down 7 statements that have bombarded me since it came out in the paper and since y'all said no. First of all, no cost to the city. What is their problem? The second one, which has been over and over and over again, this is downright embarrassing to the city and to the people of El Campo. I never thought this was ever going to be a problem when you told me you were doing this. What happened? This should have been one discussion and one positive vote. They don't understand that this is needed here in El Campo. Our city council turned down an opportunity to put El Campo on the map, and they chose not to, even the national news. I just don't understand. The last one, I mistakenly said this was just a no-brainer to me. I'm still in shock because of this decision. Mr. Mayor, I want to thank your wife, because the night that you were installed as our mayor, your sweet wife came up to me and hugged my neck and told me thank you for bringing this thing to the city council, because it is so much needed in El Campo. I appreciate that. And please tell her I said that. There is two statements that are certainly true. Safe Haven Baby Box. 4 words full of truth. And then the next one is, well, it's just not going to happen in El Campo. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Jane Smith?
I've practiced this a couple of times, all day actually, and I'd like to respectfully request 4 minutes.
Not my call.
Well, we've got a full agenda. We'll go ahead and let you speak, and I'll give you the 4 minutes.
Thank you very much. Okay, I'm going to address this to our city manager, who gave me such hope last week by saying not to quit. Keep working. So the first thing I want to correct or try to explain, because I must have not done a really good job of it, that was the word liability. Okay, everybody, don't panic. Don't panic. I'm not going to sue anybody tonight or any other time. Liability is a pain in the butt, actually. It's just not a good word, but necessary evil. Yes, all insurance policies have limits. Your car, everything else. In the safe haven law at front door of the police station is covered by the city of El Campo. If that is so, then the safe haven baby box would be covered by El Campo also. There are 21 safe haven baby boxes in Texas. They are all covered. Per our governor and lawmakers have allowed safe haven boxes in the state of Texas. If El Campo thinks they need to add to their policy, just ask me. I can get somebody to donate extra money to pay for several $100,000 more or something. Now, they said there was no place in the safety building that we could put a baby box. I would have loved to have gone with y'all. I'm the only one in El Campo, Texas, and here especially, that's ever seen and put their hands on a safe haven baby box. I saw it and they showed me how it worked and did the simulation. So I decided I would call the safety building and try to get appointment to just get somebody for less than 10 minutes to walk me through the inside of the north side of the building. I was not greeted properly. So I said, okay, that's done with that. So I just went back the next day and I walked in and I asked somebody if they could give me less than 10 minutes. And this young man walked out. He was great. I enjoyed visiting with him. I told him what I was there for and if he could just show me the north side of the building. I noticed one room that would work. I noticed a window that would work, and then a larger room that had 3 windows on the left, a door, and then one window that was kind of in an inset by itself, but it was still in the big room on the right side. Now, the window itself is 38 inches inside and 40 inches on the outside. We wouldn't have to break any brick down. Any of those windows would work. And I understand in the future, or maybe in the near future, I don't know, maybe they're going to remodel. But I don't need the floor and I don't need the ceiling. I need a wall that's like 36 inches. And I was so tickled because we wouldn't have to break out any brick. Okay, it sticks out of the wall inside of the building, which is about 4 inches. That's the most it would be in the way of anything. But it had a door right next to it. But my first thought was, oh, yay, the person, when the electricity goes off, could run right out there and lock that thing so nothing happens and a baby doesn't die in that box because electricity goes off. Besides that, the group that I was working with wants to do a extra backup generator just for the box. Now, dispatch. When an infant is dropped off in a safe haven baby box, the dispatcher receives a 911 call from that box. The dispatcher, all they have to do is inform an EMS or a police person. The same thing that would happen if a birth mom walked in the front door with a baby in her arms. It takes a few minutes, yeah. We may not be able to get that baby in 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes. If there's a wreck on the freeway, I mean, I imagine their phones are rolling, just ringing and ringing and ringing. Follow their protocol, follow Safe Haven Babies protocol, and work it out. Because I know y'all, every one of the officers and things are taught, if this happens, this is the protocol. So that dispatcher doesn't have to get upset. All they have to do is send it on to somebody, even a police officer next door. And I do want to have a baby camera in the box. That's extra, so they can watch the baby till it's taken over. I have learned so much from this effort, some good and some bad. But I was taught by great parents to never give up. And I was also taught the best lessons learned are always the hardest lessons learned. They stick with you. I would suggest that the next person who requests something special for El Campo, that you'll find someone who actually knows about and is familiar with that item, and then go from there. Go to an expert. And I'm not an expert, but I probably am in this room about Safe Haven baby boxes. Thank y'all very much. It doesn't sound like it, but I do appreciate the work. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, at this time, we're going to move on to item number 5, the approval of the consent agenda.
Mayor, I make a motion that we approve the consent agenda as is listed in proposed.
We got a motion on the floor for the approval of the consent agenda as presented. Yeah, the approval of city council workshop June 8th, 2026 at 5 p.m. And then number 2, approval of city council regular meeting June 8th, 2026 at 6 p.m. And then number 3, resolution R 2026-32, accepting certain drainage easements for the Tres Palacios Creek Expansion Project on property located in El Campo, Texas, and authorizing the city manager to execute all necessary documents to receive such easements and providing for an effective date parcels 8, 11, 14, 15, 19, 26, and 29.
Mayor, I'll second.
We got a motion, a second on the floor. All in favor?
Aye.
And the motion passes. Moving on to item number 6. 6.1, Resolution R 2026-33, approving amendment number 1 to the professional services agreement with Strand Associates Incorporated for engineering services associated with the Hazard Mitigation Grant Program, water plant generator project, and authorizing the city manager to execute the amendment.
Good evening. So as you know, with our previous amendment we did with the contractor, there was an extended timeline in getting the generator submittals approved, which caused a lot more extra work on the engineer. There was a lot more meetings and review of all the submitted plans that wasn't originally quoted in the original contract. So they're seeking this amendment to the contract for $45,000 additional dollars for a total of $146,000, and also extending the project schedule to March 31st of 2027. So pretty much this is work already performed that they're trying to get reimbursement for. With that, it's really unknown. It's hopeful that we'll get reimbursed 90% by the grant, but we won't know, per Langford, we won't know until we get that final check at the end. So requesting your approval of this contract amendment.
Mayor, I'll make a motion, we approve resolution 2026-33.
I'll second, but I have some comments or questions.
Sure.
The first question I have is the extension to March of 2027. Is that in alignment with, and there may have been some dates that I'm mistaken on some of this, so y'all educate me here, but wasn't, I thought some of this had to be done this year.
So
So
we're
I'm confused on that.
Sure. So we're also seeking it, we've submitted an extension request to TDM as well for the actual grant itself. The original contract date written with Strand anticipated that this would be done in 2026, May of 2026, but since it's so prolonged, it had to be extended. So we're getting the approval from TDM, which also seeks the approval in the official contract with Strand.
And then how's this gonna affect, what's that?
It does both, right? When we send the
Yes.
And then how's that's gonna affect with, J4 and what we're doing with that?
they're projecting an end date of December.
Yes.
So this
Okay.
allows the final walkthrough and the final,
Okay, so this is some final buy-off that we've got to get to
right,
then get the grant money to fund the rest of the project.
right, and also working with the grant, with TDM on the final closeout of the grant.
What do you think the chances are?
I would say it's a good chance,
We think-
simply because we're still under that original grant award amount.
Okay.
It's what-
Because that's what
We
we were concerned with the whole thing on trying to push this before to try to
Right.
make these dates, and now we're saying we're gonna extend it, so I'm just,
Yes, and
I'm
we,
not saying I'm against it, I'm not, I'm just wanting to make sure that we're.
I mean,
like
even
we're-
with this
yeah,
added
yeah.
cost, you're way under what the grant allowance was.
Yeah, yeah,
The grant allowance was so much higher.
Okay.
And so that's why
okay,
we believe that that this is.
okay,
just want to make
I
sure,
think it's a good
make it
chance
clear
we'll
that
get
there's a chance it
reimbursed.
might.
yeah, understand.
I think there's a good chance we'll get reimbursed for
Well,
these extra.
We can't qualify that until you get the check.
Yes.
But because it is under the threshold, we're optimistic about it. I'll put that out there.
Is there a plan for Plan B in the event that we don't?
We could still, I
Yes.
believe you can go for another extension.
No, I'm saying for the money.
Money,
Yeah, yeah.
it's a utility fund grant, so we would go ahead and appropriate those funds out of the utility fund, because this won't be done until next fiscal year.
Okay,
So she would modify the budget.
so there's not real concern with
Not on
that.
ours,
I'm just saying worst case.
worst case scenario, yes. It's not tax dollar supported, is what I'm telling you.
That answers my questions. Thank you, Craig. Here.
Any further discussion on it? Appreciate the discussion. We got a motion and a second on the floor for the approval of Resolution R 2026-33 as presented. All in favor? Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Garrett.
Item number 2, we will be pulling this item from the agenda, and we will not be doing anything with it. So we'll move on to item number 3, which is award a 5-year solid waste contract and authorize the city manager or designee to begin contract negotiations. Would you like to say something?
Well, I can, yeah. This is a rather peculiar agenda item because, as y'all know from your package, you have 3 proposals and you need to make a decision on one of those. My only caution to you is be careful that if you were to deny all 3 proposals, then we are left without any contract to award, and it would take a majority of the council to bring it back on a subsequent agenda. So, just procedurally, so you'll know that going into your discussions and debate on which ones you want to consider, that if all 3 contracts somehow fail, we have no contract. And I think the staff is pretty anxious about that because timing is getting rather critical to stage if we were to renew and go with a different provider.
Also want to point out that we are not awarding, you will be awarding the proposal, not a contract tonight. So this item you will see again on the July 13th agenda with a resolution that includes the contract of the proposal you select tonight. We will only bring back the one instead of bringing multiple proposals, multiple resolutions with proposals. Well, we elected to defer to council on that and bring it back. And we do believe there is enough time to execute that by the next meeting, or the next meeting.
How do you want to do this? Do you want to go around the table and see what we like and what we don't like about the three
Mayor,
proposals?
you could start with a motion.
Well, I'd like to start with a motion on awarding a 5-year solid waste contract, and we are going to have some discussion, and we're going to go around the table and talk about a few things. So,
With that being said, I'd like to make a motion.
hey, hang on. Oh, yes, I'm sorry, Mr. David Gillespie.
Good evening, and thank you for the opportunity to allow me to speak. My name is David Selesky. I'm a government contract manager for GFL Environmental. Based on some items that came up in the last meeting, I'd like to emphasize a few points to council. First, I think there was talk about bulk pickup offered by GFL. I've spoken with the city manager and assured that, assistant city manager, and assured him that that we have no problem accommodating the bulk needs of the city of El Campo. Our company practice for most municipalities in the area is rear load take all. We just set a limit on those amounts for times when it's heavy. Secondly, there's some question on the equipment needed for this contract, namely the age of the trucks as well as the residential carts. I'd like to point out that we'd be doing all brand new trucks for the residential and commercial containers. And then I know there was some concern about the time frame in being able to turn around and implement the equipment for the contract, and we have plenty of time for that. Thank you.
All right,
Thank you.
thank you.
That being said, I'd like to recommend.
What was that? No, that was it.
Mr.
That was the last one.
You want to speak?
If I'm allowed, I'd like to make a comment.
Bobby, you're welcome to speak. Yes. Mm-hmm.
To fill out a card. Okay.
Yeah, we'll get a card filled out for you. That's okay. We'll get it. Mhm.
Good evening. I read about this and so I wanted to give you my opinion on the subject. I was here when we got out of the collection business, and at that time it was very difficult because we were concerned about our employees and the ones that were going to lose their jobs, and we tried to write into the terms for getting someone to maybe hire as many as they could, locally, the ones that were here. I was also here when we decided not to keep digging holes out there and just putting the trash in holes. And so I've been through some of this over my years, but I do want to say that TWS, I guess that's our current.
EDS.
Huh?
EDS.
EDS, okay. Where I'm concerned, as far as I'm concerned, I mean, they've always, picked up the trash on time, if you want to call it trash, or the cans or whatever. I've never had a problem, I personally never had a problem. They come by usually within an hour of maybe a flex time or whatever. And again, I've never had an issue with them. Also, in talking to, I know some people talk about maybe, again, saving money and keeping things local.
it's my understanding that they've got about 14 employees that operate out of the office on the West Loop. And 12 of them live here in El Campo. And so these 12 that live here in El Campo are more likely to spend their money here in El Campo than somebody that comes out from somewhere else. And again, to me, I mean, that makes a big difference. But anyway, I just wanted to say a few things, and so I appreciate the time. Okay? Thank you all.
Thank you, Bobby.
I'm gonna make a motion so we can go on and get into discussion. I'm gonna make a motion that we approve TWS as for the next 5 years.
Second.
We had a motion and a second for the approval of TWS for the next 5 years.
Now can we go to discussion?
We can go into discussion.
And the reason I'm doing this for several reasons. I'll just go down the list. The first one, TWS is offering a senior citizen discount for the poly courts, and that's going to affect 1,025 people that are senior citizens for this discount. I think that's a biggie right there. I like the bundle, the 3 cubic foot or whatever, once a week. I like the 4.5 days that the landfill is going to be open versus 2.5 days from the other bids. And another thing, the annual cap, that's a big one for me. They put an annual cap of 3%. The other 2 companies said negotiable. Oh, I don't like that. Negotiable could be anything. It could be 10%. So I don't like that at all. And then another one is like what Bobby just stressed. They said they were going to hire the staff. And GFL said they would hire some, they would look into it or whatever. And of course, it doesn't make any difference on TDS because they already have them. But another thing I like about it is you can fill your cart up and still put a garbage bag on top of it. That's a biggie too, especially around holidays or Christmas when you have the family over and stuff like that. But could I call Kelly and Carolyn up here to ask them a question? CDC Director and the Chamber of Commerce.
If they're willing to answer a question, that'd be fine.
I had already called him and told him I was going to do this, so it's not a surprise to him. Okay, we entered into a new deal. It's not Shop El Campo anymore. Would you explain what the new deal y'all coming out with is?
Our new deal, long story, is choose El Campo first. And it takes our shop local to the next level. That's what we were aiming to do. To take it beyond the retail stores that everybody equates it with and take it to all the businesses. Whether you're selling welding supplies or you're selling landscape and dirt, or whether you're doing construction, but to choose El Campo first.
Okay, now the next question is, being a member of the Chamber of Commerce is very important, isn't it, Kelly? Is Trust Waste, are they a member of the Chamber of Commerce? Is That's great. Is TDS, they've had the contract for 5 years. Are they a member? They're not a member of the Chamber of Commerce. Okay. Would you explain to me that if we keep these local tax dollars with a local company and keep their employees, what this would do for our economy, Carolyn?
I wish I could give you a number and it would be the true number. I can tell you that in the economic development world, we use a multiplier of 4. And that means for every dollar that a local company adds to the economy, every dollar that's spent with that local company comes back into the community times 4. It comes back in salaries, it comes back in benefits, it comes back in buying their necessary equipment, et cetera, that's available here. All of that can be multiplied times 4.
We get that from the two other contractors?
That's hard to say. It would depend on if all of the employees were from here, if they were shopping local for all their needs, if they're supporting the community organizations. There's things that local companies do that non-local companies don't do. And it's because the local companies are a part of the community. They played Little League, or they were involved in Girl Scouts or Rotary or Lions Club. So it's hard for me to qualify that. I just know that the standard shop local multiplier is 4 times every dollar that's invested in that company.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Kelly.
I heard- Yes. So I am all about local and shop local, supporting local and all of that, but someone can correct me if I'm wrong. Not a single one of the 3 companies are headquartered in El Campo. That's just a fact. When I take the responsibility of sitting here as a councilman with the rest of y'all to counsel this city on what to do, I have to take to mind some aspects. For instance, company capacity. My understanding is if this contract is written with TWS, that they will actually increase their business by about 96%. And I'm just using clientele numbers, not necessarily dollar numbers. I have a lot of experience in business, and 96% is a tough load to any company. Just an observation. This thing of local and being local to me, okay, so we're local, Wharton County. That is a fact. The redundancy that I would like for my trash company to have is if Wharton County is wiped out, that there is a designated survivor. We know what that means. The president and the vice president have been wiped out. Now we have so there's resources and redundancy that didn't depend on a local company that got wiped out. Financial strength is important to me. Record of compliance. Those are just a few of the pieces that I put together. And I really appreciate the local support that's coming for a local company, Wharton County company. But this is my responsibility, is to make sure that when things happen out of the normal, that I have made the right decision for the constituents of this city. Thank you very much.
Did Mr. Griffin have something to say?
Yeah. Matt?
Yes. Approach the podium. You got 30 minutes.
I'm James Griffin with Texas Disposal Systems, and I live in San Antonio, Texas, but I spend a lot of time here. Some of the things that the kind gentleman that spoke unsolicited said that 12 of our 14 employees here live in El Campo. So virtually what you're saying about a local company and the money turning over for and all will be exactly the same, especially since they said they wanted to hire our people. That means they would still have 12 people in the city and 2 out. So I don't see that that's a factor at all. Another thing is your comment about the senior citizen. That's a great idea. We're about to take on a new city in Central Texas, and that's part of their RFP, their proposal. They have 2 rates, a senior rate and a regular rate. We didn't give you one because that's not what was asked of us. When the city staff gave us the request for a proposal for this new contract, there was nothing mentioned about senior. What you're doing tonight, hopefully, is granting somebody the right to negotiate all of these fine points. You can have a senior rate if you want. All city staff has to do is say, we think that's a good idea, and we just take the same numbers and move them around so that you got a senior rate. So most of the arguments that have come up would be negated by negotiating what some of us have planned on already. So, thank you.
James, I wasn't aware of the senior rate until very recently, so our apologies for not putting that out there because I didn't know about it.
We knew that. I mean, that's not.
We got a motion, a second on the floor for the approval, TWS of a 5-year contract with the city of El Campo. Is there any further discussion right now?
I'll give you some discussion. Excuse me, I'll scoot up. First of all, I don't know how we switched from a 3-year contract to a 5-year contract between the last meeting and this one. I'm not sure where that came from, but neither here nor there, but 10 years is a long time since, to be obligating. But when I was here and we discussed and approved the current 3-year contract, there were several things that were items of discussion that I was suggesting we change even then. And one of them was the monopoly on big roll-on dumpsters. I didn't understand why we did that in the past, and I'm not sure why we would continue to do that. The two things look like they're kind of not necessarily tied together for any reason. What I have noticed very positively is we've had a very clean operation and it's been very dependable. The local hiring is significant to me. The other thing that I don't understand is why we can't have a better junk pickup situation. I've advocated for a good while that when the garbage trucks are going by, if they see some old couches and junk where a house has been cleaned up and it's piled up on the side of the road, why the garbage truck can't just punch a locator button and let the office know that there's something here that needs to be picked up and let them go get it, as opposed to some of that stuff sitting out there for a month before it gets picked up. It's just an eyesore, and I don't see a reason for that. The bundling thing looks difficult to me. Personally, it's not an issue because I pay somebody to take that kind of stuff to the dump. But I know it is an issue for most people, and that's something that I think ought to be discussed. I think that's all I had to discuss one way or the other. But we have had good service so far.
Any further discussion?
Yeah, just a couple, a couple of comments. All of the three proposals that we have out here are extremely competitive, that what we have out here, for the 5-year, deal that's laid out before us. It's definitely a tough decision no matter what we decide here tonight. I would like to understand a little bit from, to Councilman Koblenz's point, is I'd like to understand a little bit from TWS, if it's possible, somebody could speak from TWS just to explain to the council what the plan is for the depth and being the resources and the depth and the equipment to be able to handle in case Plan B and Plan C is needed. Because at the end of the day, our job is to take care of the citizens of El Campo and make sure we keep our town clean. And I just want to understand that from a resource standpoint. So I don't know if I could possibly ask Chris or somebody to come just speak on that a little bit, because like I said, I'm completely unbiased on all the companies that are here, and they're all very competitive. But I'd just like to understand a little bit, Chris.
So we've already spoken with the bank. The money's already ready to rock and roll. We've got trucks in line to get painted. Trash cans are just waiting for a final approval to start being made. We've spoken with our dumpster company. They're actually going to come out here tomorrow, if we get it, to go to Lido's to look at how they want their dust boxes built. So, I mean, we've got everything. It's ready to go.
Okay, Thanks, Chris. I appreciate you explaining that. I just wanted to understand that piece of it. That's the only question I had. Thank you.
Any further discussion? We've got a motion and a second on the floor to award a 5-year solid waste contract to TWS. All in favor? All opposed?
Yeah, 3-3.
It was 3-3.
3-3 tie.
We can raise again for you, Kaylee.
If it's tie. So,
Need a motion?
All right,
Need a motion? I make a motion that we accept the proposal as presented, or as presented by TDS for the 5-year contract to follow. I mean, this is accepting the proposal,
we got
not the contract.
we got a,
accept the proposal.
Yeah.
yeah, we've got another motion on the floor to award a 5-year solid waste contract to TDS. All in favor?
Second.
Oh, a second. Okay, hang on.
Need a second.
You made the motion.
Motion.
Now we need a second for that award.
Second.
Got a motion, a second. All,
Discussion.
any discussion on this?
I have another item that I wanted to discuss that I brought up at the last meeting.
Sure.
I'm not sure why we are trying to award a contract before we have negotiated the contract.
Well, we're only doing a proposal and the contract will come next.
The motion I thought was to award the contract.
Proposal.
It's just
It's
to discuss the contract.
We're gonna award a contract, and then after,
Proposal.
I mean, a proposal, and then after.
Negotiations with Hancock. We'll be entering into negotiations with the contractor you select tonight.
And three-year contract, I couldn't understand why we were gonna do that before we had discussed, changes to it.
And all we're doing is awarding, to start the proposal to begin negotiation is what we're doing.
Contract negotiation.
Right. Any further discussion on this? We got a motion, a second on the floor, to award a 5-year solid waste contract to TDS.
That's correct.
Well, okay. The issue's gonna be here, let's just talk about this a little bit before we vote. Because the issue's gonna be if this becomes a stalemate, then what happens? Because we need to make a decision tonight on this in order to make sure that the citizens of El Campo have trash pickup and service.
Right.
Is that a true statement?
That is correct.
And
That is correct.
so we need to factor that into our discussion here because if we're at a stalemate here without one of the other councilmen, it's gonna make this a little difficult.
Right, it is.
So I wanted to talk about that before we vote. So,
And then,
What Ronnie was
and it-
warning you about.
yeah, that's what Ronnie said at the beginning of the meeting here, and,
But the agenda item says award a 5-year solid waste contract.
I apologize. We probably could have done a better job on that. Award the proposal. We will not be awarding a contract tonight. We'll begin negotiations. Yes.
Second.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay.
one thing that's, I guess, important about this is regardless of what we decide, it opens it up for the city to have contract negotiations and negotiate the final contract, which y'all will bring back at the next meeting.
that is,
correct?
that is correct.
Okay. All right, thank you. I just want to make sure I had
You
that.
know, discussion, how are we gonna negotiate the annual cap? I mean, if we vote for TDS, they don't have to do squat. They don't have to negotiate anything,
They-
you know?
I think they're willing to do that.
And how are we gonna negotiate the 2.5 days per week at the landfill versus 4.5 days? It's pretty obvious they don't wanna do 4.5 days because they would have had it in their contract now.
I suspect that they would adjust their rates if we were to ask them to reconsider certain things, such as the roll-off exclusivity and increasing the days at the collection station, as well as any other potential changes.
Well, they're already more expensive than anybody else.
And there is Mr. Griffin, there's no cap, but isn't it measured by, there's an instrument to measure the increase? I know that doesn't make you feel better, Mr. Hodges, because to your point, it's no cap. You're exactly
I
right.
wouldn't go into nothing.
But
you
it,
don't
it,
negotiate
at least
for
there
that.
is a
You need
measure.
it spelled out. You don't take somebody.
All right, we got a motion and a
Be
second.
clear, we're giving them the contract.
No, we're not giving nobody a contract right now. We're-
Picking the company you want to negotiate the contract with, so you'll have the final say-so on the contract. And all these kind of terms can be brought up and discussed. They may not be, as you said, Mr. Hodges, to our satisfaction, but you'll have an opportunity.
Well, if they're
And
not
you
to
could
our
even-
satisfaction, what happens then?
You could reject the contract.
And then what?
Then we're
won't have
really
a trash.
struggling.
We're right back in a box.
So I mean, we should have done this 2 months ago and had proposals and negotiated all of this so that we knew what we were voting on. Negotiables, that's not voting on something.
All right,
At least Chris had put 3% cap.
we're moving forward. We got a motion and a second on the floor. All in favor? Award it to TDS. Raise your right hand. All opposed? That, it was three of us.
Hold on, who's the ayes? I thought.
It was three.
I know, but who were they? It was Tom.
Me.
I'm a, yeah,
So you got three, you and Koblenz, nay,
nope,
are you an A? You're a yay or a yay?
my goodness.
The three nays would be
The
these.
nays are 3.
It's 3 and 3. All right, we're gonna try one more time. Now we're going with GFL. So, to award a 5-year solid waste contract. And, well, a proposal. So, any discussion? Well, we're gonna make a motion. Would somebody like to make a motion to award that 5-year solid waste?
I'll make a motion. I move that we move forward with approval of GFL for a 5-year proposal and negotiating a contract.
Second,
We got a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Yes, once again, I'll say their cap was negotiable. That's not right. I mean, you get it on purpose, on the paper. They were supposed to do something. They put negotiable. I'm not voting for anything that says negotiable unless it's written out what the cap's gonna be.
Hey, so the only discussion I have on this one is the brush service. The brush service is kind of a sticking point there. And my understanding is y'all have a 1 cubic yard limit. I think 1 cubic yard limit is what y'all adjusted it to. I guess there's some consternation there about not picking up brush. I don't know, David, if you have any comments on that, but.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, so that y'all still have some room there on that is what you're saying? Okay. That was something I know some people, various folks have confronted or asked you about that. And that's the only really sticking point I had with it, so. It was, yeah. One of them had two, and then it was, yeah. Okay. All right, so there is some discussion there about possibly two, and then also you've got some, you are putting in your proposal about opening the collection station 2.5 days a week. Okay, thank you.
Mr. Mayor, I'm wondering about the whole process that we're going through, and maybe, our attorney can give us some suggestions, but it seems to me like we ought to be voting on the various proposals that we want to have in a contract, and then vote on a company to fulfill those proposals.
I second that.
I'm not sure if I have the answer for that, other than the proposals, you know, again, you have to go back to what the council chose to do months ago. You had the opportunity to put this out for bid. You chose not to enter into that expense or hire the bid consultant. And so this is kind of the bed we made, and we're gonna lie in it. The staff, I really take offense to anybody that questions the staff's motives or their work. I witnessed their work in dealing with all these contractors. That's not an easy job to put public servants in. So we need to be mindful of their efforts and had tried to bring out three very fair proposals. This is where we are. This is what you get when you don't bid it out. Y'all chose not to bid it out, and you've got one more proposal on the table. I don't know what happens if that fails. So,
Can I ask you a question, Counselor?
sure.
Would you vote on an annual cap that said negotiable?
Well, I think the argument there is you're gonna know what that is before the next meeting when you approve the contract. We're not putting anything negotiable in a contract. When we bring you the final contract, it's gonna have the numbers. You can then decide, I don't like what they're proposing in that contract, and you can reject it.
Then what?
Well,
Then we start over.
Time-
That's
time's
my
tight.
point about
Right.
coming,
It could
coming
be, and
to
I'm
our
sorry,
terms that
that's
we
where we're
want.
at. I mean, I agree with you.
Having it the terms we
But-
want before we, decide on the company.
I'm not sure
If we select a company tonight and they disagree with what the city manager is asking them to do, then we're back to square one again.
Well, you're back to saying, yeah, we could bring it to council, they're not gonna approve it with that or that in it, and then you're back on is it the 13th?
Sir.
Back, unless we do a special call meeting.
Right, but posting notices are
But-
challenging, so.
Oh, yeah, that's,
Yes, whatever.
so then you're back to saying, I don't like that's in the contract, that's the final term, and I don't like it, and you vote to reject it.
I would really highly recommend that we reject all three of them and have a workshop every frickin' day next week if we need to and get this right.
Well, you had a committee appointed, and you didn't take the committee's recommendation, so I'm not sure what a workshop is gonna do for you.
Right.
Well, at least we can say what we want in the contract is what, out of the workshop. And then let the three companies bid on what we want, not something
Well,
negotiable.
I'm going to follow up what Mr. Collins said. There was a committee on this, and the committee went over a lot of stuff. We went into it with a lot of depth, and we talked about it, and we recommended what we wanted to do. And it came out and didn't go that way, so this is where we are now. So, we have to, got a motion and a second on the floor. If it don't pass, then we won't have no trash service.
Looking like New York City.
You're right. Go ahead. Yeah, it can come back up on another agenda, but it's gonna take the majority of the favorable ones, if you will, to put it back on in the favorable ones, you've denied two so far. So you'd have to have the majority of those that voted to deny them to put it back on the agenda.
Down.
I got it.
Well, no, it wouldn't be a majority, I'm sorry, because that's right, you had a tie on both of them, pardon me, so it failed by a tie. You'd have to have a majority of the council agree to put it back on.
I've got another thought on this. This is a mess. We've already denied two, so the third company is gonna get it by default because the pressure's on us to do it. I mean, if we'd have gone the reverse order and another company was sitting here Well, we have to do something because the other two got turned down. It's not fair the first two that got turned down to, to all of a sudden say GFL's the only choice.
We could turn down that one too.
Yeah, we
Come
can.
back and do it again.
Yeah.
To put this item to future agenda, have the opportunity to vote at a future meeting. Might be a special call for timing, we need a special.
Sure.
I wouldn't mind, I wouldn't mind
The
a call
purposes
meeting.
of, the contractor so that they could mobilize if it was the existing.
If we come up with what's
About
important to us in a contract, then they rebid it.
We didn't bid it, we put out proposals because the local government code allows for us to do
What's
so.
important to me might not be what's important to Jeff or Tom, but they know what's important to us and then they rebid.
What's important to me is that we pick a trash company for El Campo tonight. That's what's important to me, because I want to make sure that the people that we're supporting in this community have trash pickup like normal. So that's the reason why you saw me vote for both companies, because I think all three of the companies can do the job. That's my opinion. But, I mean, I know we need to put it to a vote, but I think we need to put this to bed today.
Well, I would like to, I don't know if we can or we can't. And I'm gonna ask legal this, and Courtney. You know, we're right here, we're at a standstill. And we definitely want a trash company for El Campo. Everybody, I believe, is capable of doing the job. We need to get it done, but we are at a standstill right now. I would like to see if we can bring this back. If we need a special call meeting, we'll do the special call meetings. But I want to bring it back with, oh, go ahead.
Got that.
Yeah, we still got
Do we
that.
have a vote table now? Get a second on that? You got a motion a second.
We got a motion and a second.
You
Can,
did?
can I finish saying what I was saying? Okay. Yeah, and then, what I'm getting at, if GFL fails and we come back with this, can we come back with the contract and not a proposal? And just, I mean,
If GFL fails, I'll give you another motion.
But I'm not sure how we do that, because.
and that's why I'm asking. I
I
don't
I
know.
don't see how we can do that, and I'm not sure what that workshop looks like, because are you then gonna invite all these
Yeah.
companies in here, and y'all are gonna sit around and bargain with them all night?
No.
And they're gonna.
Not really,
They're gonna
so.
try to bid, outbid,
Yeah.
and somebody's gonna.
Right.
get
Well,
tired.
and we don't want to
Somebody's gonna
create,
get tired of giving
we
you
don't,
things, and
we don't
they're
want to
gonna-
create chaos, you know, and we already
That's
have.
gonna be chaos.
We already have, so.
So can we call the question on the motion that's before us?
What was that, Mr. Hancock?
Can we call the vote on the motion that's before us?
Yeah, we can call the vote. Yeah, we got a motion and a second on the floor. All in favor of awarding, the 5-year solid waste proposal to GFL? Raise your right hand. All opposed?
Now, Mr. Mayor,
We have our
if I may, I'd like to make a motion that we award this contract to TDS with the understanding that they will continually pick up junk on the side of the road, rather than waiting for a lengthy period of time and for people to call in and make arrangements and everything. And that we ignore the dumpster monopoly, and that, I guess that's everything.
I don't think we can do that, Mr. Hancock, right at this time.
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, I think because you had all three fail, and
And we're
that's what was
out.
agended, I think you're through tonight.
We're through for tonight.
We cannot vote again?
No, sir.
Not,
I mean,
not
we cannot entertain another motion?
I don't believe so.
I have no comment about any of the companies or any of the voting, but I do have a suggestion. What it appears to me like is that the reason there's so much confusion tonight is we didn't have a POR, a program of requirements that was clear and defined. This is what you bid on, apples for apples, and that's it. It's very common that you have people adding maybe alternate proposals, something along with it, but it needs to be bid on a program of requirements.
I like your
Well-
terminology.
As of right now, item number 3, awarding a 5-year solid waste proposal, has failed.
Yes.
Has failed, so we do
Right.
not have anything tonight. Have failed. Right.
Right.
All 3 have.
Address this sooner than June, July 13th, because we do have an extra week in the next 2 meetings. Maybe we'll.
However that needs to be worded, I make a motion.
I would like to make that motion that this council, what's that? That this council comes back in a special call meeting to get this process taken care of. So
Would do it.
How about tomorrow?
I would, yeah, we have to post.
We got-
we can post it.
Kaylee, can you tell us how, excuse me, David, excuse me. Okay,
You can, but first and foremost, we need a motion, of the majority of council directing us to bring this item back, future agenda.
This item would be all 3 of these contracts, clear.
I'd like to make that motion, stating that we would like the council to come back to address all 3 proposals.
Second.
Now discussion as soon as possible, as soon as we can post it.
How soon?
Is it the 29th or is it? Well, then you'd still have to wait.
But, yeah, publish it tomorrow, and then when is the 29th? Yep.
So we cannot call an emergency meeting?
No.
Okay, thank you very much.
So it would be next Monday night, 29th.
Same time.
6 o'clock, everybody good with 6 o'clock next Monday night?
I'm out of town for my first granddaughter's wedding, and I'll be coming back on Monday. This is going to be at 6 p.m. Are there any provisions at all of Zooming in?
There
I'm
are
just
not.
asking.
They're not.
They're not, okay. Let me see what I can do.
Oh, please, Bill.
I wouldn't be objected to doing it Tuesday if you can't be here Monday.
Thank you.
I agree.
I mean, we gotta work with you.
Sure. Thank you.
You're welcome.
You-
Right. Yeah.
All in favor of bringing this back? Motion passes. Thank you, council. Moving on to item number 4, Board of Adjustment appointments. At this time, we've got a bunch of appointments to do. What we're gonna do first is, we're gonna reappoint the folks that were reached and, are willing to be reappointed. And then, those that weren't, we will, reappoint someone else. So, at this time, Ms. Ann Starrup, Ms. Holly Sulak Willis is willing to serve on the board again. Anybody would like to reappoint Ms. Willis?
I'll make a motion, we appoint Ms. Willis.
Okay, we got a motion and a second. Would anybody like to second that?
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor to appoint Ms. Willis? Motion passes. And the other two are be,
What the hell is all this?
Dan Harrison, the other.
the other two, Ms. Starup, due to some reason she doesn't want to. He was asking why they didn't want to.
Well, I don't even know why, but I mean, there's,
We need to address them.
The other
Let's go
two-
through the
yeah,
other
you-
two. Just make a motion on the other two.
you've got two vacancies.
Two vacancies. Yeah, the two vacancies. Right.
So you want a motion again?
Starup.
We need a motion to appoint somebody in Star's place.
A time or both of them?
We have two vacancies. You want to do one at a time?
No. Okay, I'll move we appoint Dakota Bubella and Edward Vallejo.
Okay. We got a motion and a second on the floor to appoint Dakota Bubella and Edward Vallejo fourth in place of Ann Starup and Dan Harris. All in favor? Motion passes.
Yeah, we needed a second.
I don't think anybody did.
I don't think anybody.
I'll second it. I raised my hand, but
Okay.
it,
We got a motion.
Yeah.
You can note me down as a second.
That was,
That's fine.
yeah. Okay. Now we're gonna move on to P and Z. At this time, ones that would like to be reappointed would be Becky Weed, Lance Lurker, and Nancy Porter. And they would like to continue to serve on the P and Z board.
do we need to do that one at a time?
No, I think,
I'm asking.
Yeah, you don't have to, you can do it pretty well any way you want to do it.
Well, I would like to make a motion to reappoint Becky Weed, Lance Lurker, and Nancy Porter, and also to appoint Frank Valdez in place of PJ Herman.
Second.
we got a motion and a second on the floor. All in favor? Motion passes. All right, moving on to Keep El Campo Beautiful Board appointment. At this time, we've got Bill Smart, Drew Tidmore, and Pam Clapp that are willing to be reappointed if approved by council. And Ms. Stockton's gonna step down. She's got too many irons in the fire, so.
Mayor, I move that we reappoint Bill Smart, Drew Tidmore, and Pam Clapp. And I move that we also add Jim Jack Phillips in place of Savannah Stockton.
I second that motion, and I would like to say something on behalf of Savannah Stockton as she leaves. She did a great, incredible job, and I'm really excited about you being in that position as well. But she deserves a lot of recognition. I've been out there with her doing some trash pickups or debris pickups, and just a phenomenal woman. I just want to say that publicly so that everyone can hear that.
All right, we got a motion and a second on the floor. All in favor? Motion passes. Moving on to the North Side Board. We've got two that are up for reappointment, Mindy Schneider and Ralph Novosad. They are both willing to reserve.
Mayor, I'll make a motion, we reappoint Mandy Snyder and Ralph Novosad.
Second.
We got a motion and a second for the approval of Mindy Schneider and Ralph Novosad to the North Side Board. All in favor? Motion passes. Moving on to the City Development Corporation. This time, we have Brian Hodges
Mm-hmm.
for reappointment, and Gary Raybon is retiring. So,
Mayor?
Mr. Mayor, I move that we appoint Brian Hodges and Race Jenkins to the City Development Corporation.
I second that. Wait, I second that.
we got a motion, a second, to reappoint Brian Hodges and to add Race Jenkins to fill Gary Raybon's spot.
Yeah.
All in favor?
I abstain.
Stay.
Getting part of his salary or something?
No, he's just my son. I'm not gonna.
Okay, at this time, Building Standards Commission, we have Lance Lurker, Edward Vallejo, Ruben Castro, Garrett Rod, and Sammy Cordero that are willing to be reappointed if council approves it.
I'll make a motion to approve the 5,
Okay.
to reinstate them or reappoint them.
Second.
We got a motion, a second, to approve all 5 to the Building Standards Commission.
Kaylee, there's no problem with them being on multiple boards, right? Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
Good question.
All in favor? Motion passes. And at this time, moving on to the grievance board. Each council member has done this in the past. We each approve someone to the grievance board. And I'll start out with myself. I'd like to, I would like to reappoint Richard Turner. Anybody else?
You want to go around the room or you want to just?
We'll just go around the row. We can start with Wallace.
Okay, I'd like to reappoint Derek Bodungen.
I'd like to reappoint Melvin Parker III.
I'd like to reappoint Jody Irwin.
I'd like to reappoint James Russell.
I got permission from Craig Hathaway that he would take, so I want to reappoint Craig Hathaway.
All right. We have everyone appointed except for Barger. He is not here, so we'll get it next. And now we will move on to the Housing Authority Board, and all 3 that are up for reappointments would like to be reappointed. Which is Yvette Garcia, Lorena Yannick, and Bobby Perez.
Mayor, I move that we move forward with the reappointments to the Housing Authority Board. Oh, okay, sorry.
I approve that they're reappoint. And then the last one, Museum Board, I would like to appoint Thomas Koblenz back to the museum. All right, now we are moving in to close the executive session. Closed executive session.
The Scouts people are at the Texas Rangers game tonight. Oh my gosh. Drinking that amount of beer too?
Well, the Astros ain't losing.
No.
They're tied 1-1 so far.
Got that.
Okay, it is 7:20. We are reconvening out of closed executive session, coming into open session. We are taking no action. This meeting is adjourned.